Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video, and welcome to the very famous Vorobyovy Gory here in Moscow. Just behind me is Moscow State University, and today they've got a motorbike rally here. And I thought I'd show this to everybody and to you watching, and I think it might be interesting to see some motorbikes in Moscow. Let's go check it out. Just to give you some perspective of where I am, Vorobyovy Gory is a very famous lookout here in Moscow, and very famous because it's free and you can get this beautiful view over the Moscow River. You can see Moscow City off in the distance, and then the beautiful parks that surround Moscow River, and then you can see Luzhniki Stadium, which is the place where the final of the World Cup was in 2018, and there's some very nice walking paths. And then off in the very distance you can just see the Moscow Kremlin and a Red Square, and this lookout here is incredibly popular no matter what day of the week you come. Obviously on the weekends there's a few more people here, and then where we want to go is just across the road here to the bike festival or bike rally, and it's actually in the gardens of the Moscow State University, which we can just see off in the distance. When we get a little bit closer I'll get a nice shot of that. But let's go have a look at some motorbikes. One thing to keep in mind with this video is motorbikes are very loud. They've actually got a concert going on as well, and there's just a lot of background noise. Now, I'm actually not a bike person, I'm not a car person, but I think this will be just interesting to have a look at. They've told me that there is 30,000 motorbikes taking part in this rally today, or meeting. So I wonder if we'll see just a few thousand of them in this video. I will do my best to try to get as many different types of motorbikes into the video as I can. Now essentially I'm just going to walk around and show them. So what happened with the rally today was bikes could meet here from 9 o'clock this morning, and then between 12 lunchtime and 1 p.m. they all left from this meeting point on Vorobyovy Gory and then went for one lap around the garden ring, and the local administration and government closed off the entire garden ring just for motorbikes to have a free run around the whole of the garden ring. Now this is actually the tail end of all the motorbikes coming back. Obviously it's not possible to film them going around the garden ring and back, and I'm really just here at the main meeting point and where all the festivities are going on. There is some serious amounts of bikes here from different places, different brands. Now this is actually the side road. They've actually closed off the whole main road up here by the university as well, because obviously with 30,000 bikes, where possibly are they all going to be able to park? Now this is actually going on the whole afternoon, so most bikes are just slowly coming back. So a lot of the ones that you're seeing here are who came and were first at the head of the rally, and then just thousands of bikes. And there's lots of different clubs and groups that are also doing their own thing today. So you actually might see some three-wheelers just going by, so a lot of them have actually come in groups to assemble together. And I didn't realize how big this event is and just how many different bikes I was going to see. I knew there was a lot, but this is on a whole different level. I actually asked somebody, you know, do you think it's all the motorbikes in Moscow? And I think it's pretty close, give or take a few, of course. Now, of course, with the weather the way it is in Russia, it's very seasonal motorbike riding, so naturally now in spring and summertime Every person is out on their bike and riding. You can actually get free parking in Moscow if you've got a motorbike too, which is pretty cool. And just the amount of types of bikes. Now the idea was for them all to actually assemble around the main gardens of the university, but I think there's just that many bikes. I think it's almost impossible. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cross the street and then head on inside where all the events are taking place, so we can actually see some more bikes a little bit closer. It's just so interesting. Now I think the one thing that you'll take away from this is beautiful motorbikes and beautiful girls. And I think that's what we're all here to see, I think, is all of the stunning bikes and everybody that's come to take part in this. Wow, it's still going. And I was trying to find the point to cross the road here where it's nice and safe to do that. Coming across to the middle of the street here. So this, on a normal day of the week, is an absolutely beautiful walk up and down these boulevards. And today, it's horsepower that's dominating this area. Just that noise of motorbikes and the smell of petrol. It's very distinct, which any other day of the week would not be here at this point, you know, here by the university and the lookout. You can just see off in the distance how far down all the motorbikes are parked. And then I'm probably almost a kilometer away now from where the entrance is, and they're all parked here on the side of this footpath. And again, just so many nice bikes. I think even if you're not a bike fan or like riding them, I think there's just some attraction to coming to see motorbikes. Thank you so much. It's just a thing to come to. It's really almost like a family-friendly event. You know, the mutual admiration. I think bike riders have that for each other, and they want to show their bike and look at other people's bikes at the same time and just have a look. They're now double parked as I try to get a little bit closer, all the way down. I haven't even walked in the main gates of the event, and just the amount of bikes that are actually parked just on the road here before we even get around the corner to where the actual concert is and all of the activities they've got planned. And just the amount of bikes that have just parked here rather than going in a little bit closer. There's some scooter type bikes here as well. So there is all levels and sizes of bikes and all different brands. It's just really just so interesting, everybody's choice of bike. And also on a day like today, you know, just people bring everything out of the garage. And I think also quite a lot of different groups with the same brands of bikes as well. So they've actually intentionally, you know, come to this as a bit of a club rally as well. Wow. If you notice any brands of bikes, let me know in the comments, because barring one or two main brands, I'm not really too sure what I'm looking at in terms of all of these bikes. But there's definitely a lot to take in as I'm walking around. This boulevard here leading up to Moscow State University was actually where I thought all the bikes would start to be parked, and of course a lot of them are already here, and pretty much all the bikes have returned from their lap around Moscow now, and they're all the way down the street. Literally there's obviously that many that they're going all the way down the roads leading up to the event right here. And bikes still coming in. I think a lot of people want to try to park near their friends or colleagues. And just have a look. The whole way down, all the way to the university off in the distance. That's just amazing. As is normal at a lot of events, they've always got concerts and they like to put that volume up just a little bit too loud. Of course, it's different bands that are playing, and it's just a little bit hard to make videos when the background music is just almost deafening. Have a look. Again, I'll walk down at least a couple of the streets here where all the bikes are, and then we'll head on inside and check out the main part of the event that they've got here. Maybe some things that are maybe a little bit unique. Stunning. Really and truly. Just how many people are here on this beautiful afternoon. It is absolutely stunning weather. There's actually a couple of motorbikes with sidecars here, which is pretty cool. Now, most of the bikes that are parked up are people that have actually just done the trip around and then now are taking part in all the events inside. And then, of course, there's quite a few people who are hanging out with their bikes, and a lot of people coming up to talk to them and look closely at them. It's pretty interesting to see. And these motorbikes with sidecars are pretty cool, and I think also probably quite old as well, and just really interesting. Wow, that's very cool. Get your whole gear inside if you don't have a passenger. And then the bikes continue all the way down, and pretty much Harley Davidson is the main one that I always know. Have a look at this one with the chrome everywhere. That's just polish to the next level. Just beautiful. There's one of the three-wheel bikes that we saw a little bit earlier going down the road. This Can-Am. This is pretty neat with this front wheel steering on it. Now, I was thinking we might see a few more of them somewhere. This is the first one I've seen in the whole street since we saw them going by a little bit earlier in the video. Just have a look now how many different bikes, and just different sizes of bikes, different kind of colors of them, builds of them. It's just amazing. Now, of course, it's very hard to get every bike on the video. That would be near impossible. And even I'm trying to walk a little bit slower too, to get, you know, as much as I can. Now, I'm a bit in fear that the video is going to run too long, but I think just to show this motorbike culture in Moscow and in Russia, I think just makes for a really interesting video. The sun today isn't doing us too many favors of showing you how beautiful the university is off in the distance. It's actually an incredibly big building. It makes up one of the Seven Sisters in Moscow, which is the buildings that look quite similar, and you can actually have a very nice walk around here any day of the week. And today almost all the roads are closed off in this area because of the bike rally, so they're really restricting vehicles because there's just so many bikes and so many people. And we want to get down to the main part of the rally off in the distance. Just again, how many bikes are here? It's really just incredible. 30,000 bikes are estimated to be here today. Pretty much spread out over quite a big area too. I'm not too sure about the brand Valkyrie, but these bikes are pretty interesting. And I'm pretty sure this is the club of them because they're all parked up together here in one row and different versions of them. Perhaps you recognize them or know what brand they are. They're really incredible. Big bikes too. It's interesting now they've actually kind of got some of the different brands all grouped together, and then a lot of them are just parked up generally. Wow, very cool. And this whole group of the same bikes. It's kind of a good day, I think, that everybody can kind of come and meet up and ride together, and especially the fact that they close off the whole garden ring. Of course, any other day of the week you can ride your bike, you know, normally, but today the entire garden ring is closed off, or was for a few hours, for all the bikes to have a free ride around and literally bypass all the intersections. Yeah, this is very nice. The Walkway riders, they've got on their shirts. Everybody gathered around these bikes. There's a gold wing here. Have a look at this. This thing is a beast. And the paint job on it as well. And they've also got a drink holder on there too. The speakers. Wow. There's actually quite a few of them here set up together. So again, perhaps they're a group that kind of get together for these kind of events. And they've lined up all here in the street. Wow. These are pretty cool. They're more like a touring bike and probably some sort of a casual riding bike. Okay, I do recognize another brand here, Indian motorcycle. This thing is beautiful as well. Really and truly, this brown leather. Wow. Stunning bike. Whoever belongs to this. Absolutely beautiful. Actually, there's a couple of them here. So I wonder again if they've come as a bit of a group. Have a look at the paint job on this. And again, all this stainless steel, just polished. Amazing. Wow, this is a pretty cool bike. Of the whole event walking around, this is the first chopper motorbike that I've found. Most of the bikes, or all of them here, are mostly all touring bikes or regular bikes, if that's the right word. And this thing is just beautiful. It's literally the only one I've seen out of all the thousands of bikes as I've walked around. It's just incredible. I really do wish I could give you more technical information about what we're looking at, but these are pretty nice bikes. Now, there is literally thousands of them to look at and get close to. This one actually has a life member group, Harley owners group of Russia. So obviously they've come here as a bit of a group of bikes, and just stunning, really and truly. The finish on them, the polishing, just beautiful. I mean, even as a person who doesn't really like bikes, you can just stand here and admire them. A little bit later on now, and the concert on the stage is in full swing. It's a little bit hard to even hear or talk. They've got a heavy metal band, of course. You've got to have that kind of band at a bike event, I think. You're not going to have a classical concert. There's some food trucks right here, and then everybody enjoying themselves on the grass, listening to the concert. I think there's no need to get really close because, you know, it's very loud. We've also got lots of stands all the way around the event as well, with different things that represent the bike community here in Moscow. I'm going to take a look a little bit closer, see if we can find something interesting. Let's get a little bit further away from this music. One thing I do want to point out is these food trucks and the fact that they keep the prices very reasonable. Hot dog is only $3.50, and then a hamburger is only $4, chips for $2, even the drinks are only $1.50, and the food actually looks really good. Of course, there's always going to be a line at any food truck when you come to these events, but I'm just happy that they don't overcharge for them. There's no need to really at any event anywhere you go, but to have a hot dog for $3.50, I think it's very reasonable. I walked a little bit further down the boulevard now, and the music is still incredibly loud. Of course, it's a heavy metal rock band, so it's to be expected, but just have a look at the view of the university. It's just stunning. And then looking back towards the concert, and then way off in the distance, that view of Moscow. And any day of the week that you could come here, you know, and have a walk around, it's just a stunning place. You know, just the gardens of the university is very incredible. And this event that's been put on is completely free. There's no tickets necessary. This is all put on by the local Moscow administration, you know, to try to encourage people to come to these events and to make them inclusive as possible with different, you know, parts of the community, and then for them to have these car rallies or bike rallies, and especially to do them right in the middle of Moscow as well, and to close off the whole garden ring. That's just incredible. Beautiful bikes. It's really very nice bikes. There's quite a few of the different dealerships on this side as well, so you can actually get up close with them and sit on them. And this lady's jacket here, the boomerangs, that's really interesting. I wonder if she knows the reference of having a boomerang on her jacket. These bikes right here, the Royal Enfield. Let me know if you've heard of this brand, maybe something about it. So it's really cool. You can actually come and sit on them and see something that's maybe different to what you might own, or you might want to own a bike. Something like this is a little bit more open to the public, so you know, you're not committed to going to a dealership, and you can just come for a walk around and check them out a little bit closer. Very nice. They've got some of the accessories there as well, and then all sorts of different models of bikes. The Gaukin, never heard of that bike either. I wonder which country it's from. Somebody can let me know. Lots of people walking through. The Sharmaks. See, all the different companies have brought something for the setup and the different types of bikes. It's a very big four-wheeler here as well. The size of this thing. I'll show you here is how well they look after people at events in Moscow. This is a field kitchen that they've got set up, and any public event that you come to in Moscow and Moscow region and beyond, they have these field kitchens set up, and this is actually free food that you can literally line up for. You can see there's a bit of a line forming. They've just opened a few minutes ago, but essentially they're giving away some bread and some tea right here, so you can just help yourself to tea and bread. And then they've got grechka, which is a very well-known Russian dish, and essentially they give you a bowl and a spoon, and it's all completely free. Now, the only thing that I don't like is how this hectic line kind of comes about, because everybody thinks they're in a line, and then really it's a bit of a free-for-all at the front. But please let me know where you live in the world, and when you come to events, do they have free food Now this is a completely public event, it's not ticketed, you just have to come through security to come in, and free food for all. That stand with the free food there and the field kitchen is very common. Even in my town when we have events they have them. And of course there is food available here for purchase. But the government, you know, they put these events on and they provide tea, some food, some bread. They've actually got bottled water they're giving away because it's a little bit of a warm day today. Is that something that happens where you live in the world? It wouldn't be a bike rally without some bike sellers or bike dealers. And there's a few of them set up. They're actually spread out all over the event. So you can actually come and talk to the guys and talk about motorbikes and have a look at them a little bit closer. Actually even get to sit on them as well, which is pretty cool. They've actually got a raffle here as well, I think. So it's pretty neat that all the different bike dealerships have been able to come along and set up a stand and show off some of the bikes. Have a look now. I think I've mentioned it many times that I'm not a car guy, I'm not a bike guy, but just to come to these events and experience them is something else. Beautiful day today, beautiful weather, and some beautiful motorbikes as well. I forgot to mention beautiful girls also, and they've got some motorbikes here where you can actually sit on and pose for a photograph, which I think everybody dreams to do. If they don't have a bike, get a photo on one instead. Got lots of free events and little master classes, and they can actually make some little dolls, I think they are. This is pretty nice. They've got the ladies here teaching everyone to do this, and it's all completely free to do. Just have to sit down and join in. So if you're wondering what that was, there's basically a demonstration bike here where you can practice doing wheelies, and they're letting people go on it for a few minutes at a time, and they give you some basic training, I guess it is. Literally you get on the bike and then this gentleman's kind of got full control over it, and then everybody here wants to have a go and simulate what doing a wheelie on a bike is like. This is completely free as well to do, but something very interesting, I think. They have a couple of different setups that are hosted by the local administration and local government, and this one is relating to fire rescue, and I didn't even know that they actually have fire engine motorbikes. I think that's the best way to describe it. I would imagine that they're involved with car accidents and different things, and this is a fire rescue bike, and they've actually got a jet ski here as well, which I imagine they probably use on the Moscow River. And then one of the other cool things over here, they've got set up a demonstration about first aid and doing CPR, and I would imagine this is one of the paramedics from one of the bikes. But this is pretty neat. They're actually giving a basically demonstration about what to do and how to do CPR. And this is all hosted by the local administration and government, which is very interesting. There's some photos here of different things that they're doing and some of the gear that they carry on the bikes. But where you live in the world, let me know. Do they actually have like fire rescue bikes like this? Maybe it's a part of the police. But I'm not too sure. I don't think I've ever seen this in Australia. There's definitely more people here now as the afternoon gets a little bit later, and lots of people really just chilling out on the grass And if this was Australia, we'd all be looking for shade. And it's only 24 Celsius today, but it feels, for me, more like 34 degrees. There's something about the weather here where, you know, it doesn't have to be that hot, and it's really a warm day. As I've been walking around, I'm looking for the shade myself, stopping for a bottle of water. But really a nice afternoon, and lots of interesting things to see. And of course, everybody's here for the bikes. I think that's the number one thing. And, you know, just really family-friendly event. You know, all the bike riders got to go around the city. Basically completely free rein. I'm curious, I don't think they even impose speed limits for that ride around either. So it's really nice. There's actually quite a few of these displays that are set up by the local government as well, and talking about bike safety and different kind of divisions of the local government. It's really interesting that, you know, it's not just about the private dealers that are here. You can learn a little bit about what the government's doing for bike safety and all the initiatives that they undertake to make sure that if you choose to own a bike, then, you know, you can learn the right way. Actually letting all the kids get on them and sit on them and understand what they do. As I slowly make my way out from the motorbike festival, motorbike rally, I just thought I'd take you for a brief walk along the Vorobyovy Gory walkway towards the metro station, because it's super interesting. And there's some nice views as well as we walk along. And then I'll get to the metro and I'm going to head on home. I just thought I'd show you this little brief walk along the footpath here and just show a little bit of the life here in Moscow as I head on home. The one thing I do want to point out is the view here, looking from Vorobyovy Gory down to the Moscow River. Now, I was here in winter time, and this is actually a ski field, and you can actually come and do skiing and snowboarding, and you can actually see these yellow snow jets here that actually put out the snow when there's not snow falling. And right at the bottom at the moment, they've actually got a sand volleyball court, which is quite interesting. It's such a difference when you come here in spring and summertime to if you come here in winter. You can see Luzhniki Stadium there off in the distance. Really very big stadium, very famous for the World Cup football and the Olympics here in Moscow. And it looks like they've actually got an event on the other side of the river as well today. And then this nice boulevard that they've got set up. Now this of course is the weekend, so naturally there's a lot more people that will actually just come for a casual walk along the walkway of Vorobyovy Gory. So you can actually come from the metro station and then walk as far as you like and then walk all the way back. And they've got some little outdoor cafes here as well. So if you want coffee or a snack or something like that. And then the actual kind of device in front of us here is actually the ski lift, which of course is not working now. But in winter time it'll ferry people up and down the mountain. And it's pretty cool to see if you come here on a cold winter's day. And actually if you come in the evening as well, the lights of Moscow, it's just beautiful. And of course everybody comes for this view, because you can also see Moscow city off in the distance. And this is the ultimate free walking trip in Moscow, that you can just come here from the metro and you get that view of Moscow complimentary. You don't need to pay for the view. Just come over to the edge right here. There's literally just a fence right now. I'm not too sure if they've changed this. I think they've actually changed this since Christmas when I was here. Wow, beautiful. There's actually ski jumping also here as well in winter. They've not got it set up now, of course, but you understand. And then there's a gondola ride across the river, which is running, so you can actually take that from this side if you want to. It's just so interesting to see green grass here. The other new thing they've set up here in the last year or so is this Sports Alley of Fame, and it talks about all the different winter sports in Russia, and talking about this area being the home or birthplace of winter sports in Moscow. And they actually had a luge track here in 1910, which is just hard for me to picture in my mind, coming from a warm climate country. And then these in the evening light up, and it's really quite spectacular. When you see them in the daytime, probably not so much, but they've got a different setup for each different sport. And interestingly, they've got it in English and Russian as well. So it's really nice that you can actually learn about winter sport as you walk to or from the metro station. And lots of people, just like me, making this very nice walk along the boulevard here. They've actually fixed and repaired this in the last couple of years, since they opened the Escalator gallery coming out of the metro station. They did a very nice job repairing and fixing all of this walkway, so you can enjoy the walk from the metro. And then each of these different monuments, statues, represents a different winter sport. And again, if you're here at night, these basically sticks and metal objects light up. Alpine skiing. There's a little bit of information about it, and really just talking about the fact that this area was very heavily used throughout all the last 100 years for winter sports. There's a nice little cafe here as well. Ski Cafe. And these are actually open year round, so if you come in winter when it's minus 20, it's very cozy to go sit in there and enjoy the warm coffee. And then of course now you can sit outside. We've just actually had a bit of a downfall of rain, just a bit of a refreshing shower for about 20 minutes. Let's have a look at this walkway. And we really are very close to the center of Moscow as well. I'm almost certain, someone needs to correct me, that Moscow is one of the greenest cities in the whole world, and the amount of parks and open spaces like this is more per square kilometer than anywhere in the world. Please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a lot of parks here in Moscow when you walk around the city. One of the cafes, as I'm walking back towards the metro, has an open fire right here. Now it's really not that cold that we all need to stand around the fire, although it was raining about half an hour ago. But there's a log pile over there, and you can put yourself a log on the fire and enjoy a coffee here in the open or in the woods. Now, anywhere else in the world, this would be a fire hazard. The kids wouldn't be able to stand near it, but Russia, no worries at all. You can do it as you wish. I think it wouldn't be a video here in Moscow without getting recognized from my videos on YouTube. So I just met a couple of people now, actually 3 people at the same time, who recognize me. So it's really nice. Thank you so much if you're watching this video. I'm sure you've watched others. You know, if anybody sees me out in Moscow, please say hello. Please stop for a photograph or whatever. I'm very happy to meet fellow Muscovites as we're living in the same city. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching and saying hello to me as I'm walking here in Vorobyovy Gory. They put up a few pictures and signs talking about the different winter sports that are held here. And there's also a bit of a breakdown of the different sports and some of the heroes of Russia that have won medals in Olympics and championships. And you know, it's really interesting because when I think about Australia, I think we've only got a few medals in all winter sports over the years, and yet Russia just dominates in a lot of the different winter sports because of the seasonal weather here. Now, if you're still watching to the very end, I want to show you one last thing. Now, it might not be exciting for some, but if you've made it to these last few minutes of the video, this is another free tourist attraction in Moscow, and I'm going to take you to it in just a second. If you're wondering how I'm going to get down to the metro station, I'm going to go on one of Moscow's newest tourist attractions. Now, this might seem a little bit strange, but this is called the Escalator Gallery, and this has been around for a lot of years, and it closed back in 1983, and for 40 years you had to walk down the side of the mountain and to get down to the metro station or to the Moscow River. And then only last year this reopened, and it's 90 meters from the bottom to the top. It's one of Moscow's longest escalators at the same time. Now, I do actually have a completely standalone video of this in an escalator playlist, so if you're interested, you can check that out. Have a look at the view from that platform. You can actually see all the trees on the side as well as we're heading down. Now, how cool is this? Now, maybe everyone watching doesn't think that. Let me know in the comments if you've made it to the end of the video and you're riding this escalator with me. Thank you so much for enduring my videos. There's another platform right here. A lot of construction went into this whole side of the mountain to get this to be open. And it's just so nice that after so many years of being closed, it got reopened, and then people like me can come off the metro, go up to Sparrow Hill and go for a walk, and then come back to the metro like this. And then out we come in the lower part of Sparrow Hill, and right here in the trees, there's lots of people are going up for a walk and see the view. I've got a couple of minutes and I'll be at the metro station. So I really want to thank everybody for watching the video today and to come along to the bike rally with me and show you this last secret tourist attraction in Moscow. Not a lot of people know about this, by the way. It's really one of those secret, interesting things that you can come and do. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That'll be super nice. And maybe let me know in the comments about some of the bikes that you might have seen. Or maybe you have a motorbike yourself. What model do you have? I've never even ridden a motorbike in my life, so I actually don't even have any thought to ride one either. I'm completely happy in cars. Thanks everybody. If you want to join me on Telegram, the link is coming up right now. And if you want to watch another video, actually I'll put the Escalator Gallery video. Let's see how many people watch that one after this. I'll be checking the statistics later. Check that link. Thanks everybody. I'm off on another adventure. Bye.